Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an angle to the race we might find as the path to getting the winner. Well, it's Queen Mother Memorial Cup Day on Sunday at Sha Tin, and that's the first race that I'm going to look at. It's race 9 and our winning factor is the weights. Now, the Queen Mother Memorial Cup has an unusual place in Hong Kong racing. It's one of only 3 races at 2,400 metres for the year. The other 2 are the Group 1 Hong Kong Vase and the Group 1 Champions and Chater in a few weeks from now. So there are no standard races beyond 2,200 metres in Hong Kong. More on that shortly. But I'm also going to touch on what a good quality race it is this year. Hong Kong's top stayer, Russian Emperor, makes a reappearance after his efforts in the Middle East. He's one of 2 former Champions and Chater winners along with Panfield. They'll have their fans, as will the 2 previous winners of this race, Senior Toba and Butterfield. Zach Purton's mount Running Glory is in great form. We have some lightly weighted runners coming off good efforts in the lesser handicap classes, Straight Aaron, 5G Patch and Sword Point. So there's real depth to this edition of the Queen Mother Memorial Cup, a race that really does fluctuate every year in terms of quality, and that's made it a different race this year. Now, what I'm normally looking for in these Group 3 handicap features is a horse in good form, coming through the ranks, often a stepping stone kind of horse going to the top grades. And that would normally be a horse like 5G Patch. Now, I noted him earlier in the season as a horse who would be ideally suited by this cup. However, now that we're here, it's not nearly as suitable as I imagined. So you see here the last 15 winners of the Queen Mother Memorial Cup, and they're arranged not chronologically, don't adjust your set, but from the biggest weight carried down to the lightest on the right hand side there. Now, there's a lot to read on this table, but I've got 2 key takeaways to highlight. First is that distance experience, as you can see there, isn't necessarily relevant. Yes, the winner has to run out the 2,400 metres, but a lack of previous distance form or experience doesn't stop horses winning. And a couple of those who did have prior form at 2,400 metres, Everbright and Dominant, had gained that experience winning this race prior at their first 2,400 metre attempt. So secondly, it's also not a race for top weights, and look at the handicap ratings of the higher weighted winners in the past. Only one, Dominant, was already rated 114 and he'd won the previous year, while the others up in the weights were rated only 100 to 102, which shows what a quality addition this race is. A 100 rating this year would get a horse only 117 pounds to carry. And the point there is the disadvantage that a lot of these bottom-weighted horses now face. For example, if Straight Aaron and Natural Storm met in a normal handicap, Natural Storm would be receiving 18 pounds in the handicaps, but here they are at level weights. And Straight Aaron is by no means himself well handicapped. Another way to express the handicap disadvantage is this second graphic, where you can see the lighter weighted runners a long way off a fair handicap weight in some cases. So Russian Emperor and Senior Toba have been strutting their stuff in the Middle East lately, and Russian Emperor coming away with an important win for Hong Kong and for trainer Douglas White in the Emir Trophy in Qatar over 2,400 metres. They didn't quite get up to speed in the Dubai events, but they're back here to something easier. Meanwhile, at home, Running Glory, a 7-time winner, up to 2,000 metres, got a little test of his class at his latest run in the Group 2 Chairman's Trophy over 1,600 metres. Now this is race 566. He's in pink colours, gate 3, Running Glory, and he's not the best away and is quickly outpaced over the mile to settle third last. And nearby he has Sunday's rivals Columbus County, red and yellow colours, and Tourbillon Diamond in green and red is last. Now these guys are unsuited by this shorter distance and basically overmatched as well, so it's hard to expect a whole lot from them. But Running Glory tries his heart out, clearly betters Tourbillon Diamond in Columbus County, and he certainly isn't disgraced getting to the line 3 lengths behind California Spangle. And the other lead-up race I want to show you is the Class 2 1800 metres from 2 weeks ago. This is race 606, and we've got a few to look at here in light green. A Sword Point jumps well gate 4, and he's straight through to the lead, while Straight Aaron has mainly orange colours gate 7, and Butterfield gate 6 in blue and white, and those two settle almost together past midfield. Now, the heat map highlights the keenness of the front runners. Champion Dragon and Sword Point push each other along early and in the middle stages, and especially Sword Point, who wants to go even faster. That's going to help the run-ons in the straight. And while Straight Aaron is in the clear and launching to get the job done, look back to the inside. Butterfield is being badly held up behind weakening horses, and he doesn't get clear until the final stages. Now, Butterfield gets a 12-pound turnaround with the winner on that run, and a 5-pound turnaround on Sword Point as well, coming into this race. So he looks better placed this time, and is, of course, as I said earlier, a previous winner of the race. Now, I'm not going to spend any time this week on the map for this race because they're such a rarity on the Hong Kong program. These are rarely fast run races. They're usually a dawdle. And horses are often ridden a little bit differently in these events than they would normally be in more standard distances. But the tip from me is Running Glory. His winning factor, the weights. Now, I've highlighted that I would normally look for lighter weighted horses. Now, he's somewhere in the middle. He doesn't have a disadvantage at the handicaps versus the ratings, but he also doesn't have a big handicap to carry, which the better performed horses up the top do. He's a very genuine horse, and I think he'll really give this a shake. The second race I want to take a look at is race 11, and our winning factor here, the map. Quite a competitive Class 3 to finish up with a number of chances, and I think major players will be Majestic Colour, an amazing victory at the top of the weights. Promising Mighty Stride has won 3 of 5 starts. Beauty Fit was an eye-catching run last start. Hyper Dragon Ball, a last start winner this course and distance, and Master Tornado at the foot of the weights gets the blinkers that he wore to good effect in Australia. But I'm highlighting 2 runners in particular. First of all, Mighty Stride, and we're going to see him beating Hyper Dragon Ball and Majestic Colour on Derby Day. This is race 511, and Hyper Dragon Ball's in green and black, gate 7, Majestic Colour, barrier 14 in yellow, and both of them begin very well. Hyper Dragon Ball quickly to second in a moderate tempo, while Majestic Colour has to steady back from the draw and eventually settles 3 wide outside Mighty Stride, the baldy-faced horse in yellow and green colours, red cap. Now, look at the heat map. It's certainly not a testing assignment. Moderate early sections, slowing even further around the circle before a sharp sprint home. It was all in favour of the leaders here, but Mighty Stride applies himself well once he's in the clear for Hugh Bowman and simply outruns them to win coming away. The other horse I'm keen to highlight is Beauty Fit. Now, he had some very plain form early in the season, and there was no vet report of any problem. However, he clearly wasn't himself, and a master trainer, John Size, elected to keep him away from the races for a few months and freshen him up. He certainly didn't miss work in that time to suggest a physical issue, but the break seems to have done the trick. And when he resumed for his new campaign, we saw him over 1,200 metres on the dirt. This is race 602. He's in gate 6 with pink and black halves, and you won't see a whole lot of him, Beauty Fit, as far as the result is concerned, but take careful note of the heat map. Now, Beauty Fit begins okay, which is not always a given with this horse. Then he drifts the rear over a distance that he does find too sharp. The pace is sound, neither fast nor slow really, and the race is won up the front by Youthful Deal. Now, Beauty Fit has always niggled along, but does start to pick up strongly in the final 200 metres and even has to steady to prevent him running onto the heels of the weakening leaders over the final stages. Now, just to underscore what the heat map was showing us there, the leaders ran down the straight about 4.5 lengths faster than average in that race, so it was difficult to keep up, let alone make ground. Obviously, the runner-up, Gummy Gummy, was able to make up good ground, but so was Beauty Fit, who was only about a length behind him in the finishing sectionals, and we did see him eased over the final stages. So that was an outstanding return. And if the extra distance on Sunday meant he could keep a better position in running, I'd say Beauty Fit would be the one to beat, but that's where the problem lies. Even giving him the most generous reading of his likely positioning, the one where he doesn't miss the start, he's going to be in midfield and likely following behind Mighty Stride. If he does miss the jump, as he certainly has done on quite a few occasions, then he's going to give even more of a start. I think the pace will be more generous than we saw in Mighty Stride's last start win, and that suits both of these horses. But the tip from me in race 11 has to be Mighty Stride. His winning factor, the map. Now, certainly he's a progressive horse. He's getting up in the weights now for Class 3. But I think the thing that really swings it his way is that he's better able to make use of his barrier 1 draw than Beauty Fit is able to make of his inside draw in the next gate. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Good luck on Sunday. We'll see you next time.